Good morning guys, welcome back to the AJ Analysis channel, where today we are talking about a player that we've spoken about before and we will most likely speak about again in the future. That is of course Leny Yoro, because for me in the past week he has really shown that he is a player that someday is going to be absolutely amazing. Now we've known that for some time. We did our scouting work. We knew that this man here, Leny Yoro, was going to be a very good footballer. In the past week or so, he has shown some unbelievable glimpses of his potential. Whether that be this last-ditch tackle here, or this performance against Manchester City, Leny Yoro has had a very good week that I think we should take a look at. So the first thing that is quite impressive about the week that Leny Yoro has had is the fact that he has done it on both sides of the defence. In the game against Forest, he played on both the right-hand side and the left-hand side, and you can see in his pass map, he was progressive from both sides of the pitch. That is a talent. There are not many players that can play right the way across the back three. In my opinion, Leny Yoro could play in each of these positions. I think he is that good. Against Manchester City though, I think he was particularly impressive, and that was playing in this position on the left-hand side. Now, why does this work for Yoro? Because normally we would look at Yoro in this position and go, he's a right footer, which is going to be a problem. We need a left-footed player that can actually play down the line. Yoro's right foot is going to create an issue for us. Why doesn't it in the case of Yoro? Why is he a player that can play on the left-hand side despite being right-footed and still look very natural and very comfortable? Well, reason number one is because of his mental traits. He's a very composed player, very calm when he's got the ball at his feet. He's not in a rush. He's very chill with the way that he's doing things. He's going to knock the ball about. He's going to look for a pass, get his head up. He's calm. He's composed. He does it all at his own pace. The other good thing, though, is just the way that he works the ball, particularly in this game against Manchester City. We were speaking about this morning. City's struggling a little bit with the high press, being slightly passive with the front three, trying to match with United, but not quite being able to. Leny Yoro was really good at taking advantage of this, because what he would do, as the ball comes across, he would sort of open up his body as though he is going to play down the line towards the wing-back. Now, of course, the Manchester City forward, the right winger here, does have to sort of allow for that. So as the ball is coming across, he can't be too aggressive sprinting here, because he does need to be aware of this passing lane here. Yoro used this to his full advantage, because as he receives the ball, as it comes across, the opposition player comes pressing to the right-hand side here. What Yoro would do was sort of let the ball come across his body, but then actually take an aggressive touch back inside the pitch. So he's letting it come across to the left-hand side, and then he's going to move inside onto his right foot. And what this did for United was it created a sort of a pathway where we could be progressive through the middle of the pitch. And that does not happen very often at United. United struggle to move the ball into these central areas here because it all gets a little bit compact. Yoro brought us a solution, cutting inside onto his right foot and then progressing in that way. Again, the fact that City were passive in their press certainly helped. So, you could see these players coming forward trying to press United. But United in moments had two players against one here, and Bruno Fernandes in particular had a little bit of freedom to move across the pitch, but it allowed Yoro to find him with a pass like this. Yoro coming inside from the left onto his right foot, plays the pass into Bruno Fernandes, and this one pass through the line here, sort of going over the City press, completely took out a load of these Manchester City players and allows United now to attack a little bit quickly, to move the ball forward at a greater pace. That is what Leny Yoro was providing for us in this game. Now, I think some of the reason we're starting to see this more now than what we were, say, 2 months ago was actually a confidence thing. Yoro was getting a run in the team, he's playing well, he's settling into the new club, new environment, and he's starting to play with a smile on his face. He looks a bit more confident really with what he's doing. We are also seeing that with the passes that he is attempting. So not just the passes inside the pitch, through the lines into these areas here, but also the slightly longer range passes as well. Now, I'm not talking about Yoro suddenly turning into Pirlo, for example. That is not the case, but what Yoro is starting to do is trust his longer passing range a little bit more. You can see it in his pass map. Just occasionally, he is going a bit longer with his passes, and of course the pass we are talking about is from this position here, out to the far side wing back. Again, this was something that we covered in our video this morning, the City press being a little bit passive. So as City were in these moments here, United did have the spare man on the far side in Diogo Dalot, and Leny Yoro, again, on his right foot, had the confidence, the composure to take his time on the ball. And then once he's taken his time on the ball, he is then going to play that switch out to the right-hand side. And again, that allows United to be progressive. But Leny Yoro's progressiveness didn't stop there, because not only could he pass the ball forward and find people on the other side of the pitch or through the lines, he could also actually carry the ball forward himself. You see, Manchester City were very aware of the fact that Yoro was passing the ball about quite nicely. So in moments, they were they were unsure how to deal with him. And then suddenly what Yoro's going to do is make them even more uncertain because he's going to start dribbling at them. And Yoro has this ability to bring a player towards him, again with his composure, with his psychological traits, if you like. He allows the opposition player to come towards him. And as this player sort of gets closer and slows his momentum just as he approaches the player, that's when Yoro then accelerates. He then takes a heavier touch, and that can be outside the pitch here into this left side zone, or it can be inside the pitch again onto the right foot. On this example here, you can see Yoro drives inside the pitch onto his stronger right foot. But actually in this example here, you can see Yoro going down the left-hand side. And again, in terms of his pass map, he was progressive down the left side of the pitch. A lot of actions going on in these areas here. And that is exactly what Manchester United need. This is why I like the signing of Yoro so much, because he ticks so many of the boxes of what we need. He's young, he's technical, he's calm, he's confident, but also physically really good. And we've seen a couple of glimpses of Yoro's athleticism in the past couple of games. First of all, we have that recovery tackle the other night, just amazing against Nottingham Forest. It's an unbelievable last-ditch challenge to win the ball back. But also this moment here, Yoro never actually gets to the ball, but just the sheer recovery pace. Watch him go compared to Harry Maguire. It's night and day watching those two sprint at full speed, right? One of them is clearly much quicker. These are the types of players that United need to sign. This is what INEOS need to do. Sign these young athletic profiles. Now, you might be thinking, you know, this isn't FIFA. We don't just need pace in a defensive line. And of course that is true. You need other traits as well, which, to be fair, Yoro brings. But one thing you certainly need is some pace at the back. You do need a player that can cover a little bit of ground, because when you play in this system, you have centre-backs defending the wide zones. Typically, perhaps for another side playing a back four, we would see full-backs in these areas. But now, under Ruben Amorim, in the back three, these are centre-backs. So there are going to be moments where United are trying to progress the ball over here, we're trying to combine, suddenly the centre-back steps in, wins the ball, the opposition counter-attack, and now they have a winger in this position. A winger against a centre-back is normally a bit of a problem, unless you're a player like Leny Yoro, who, of course, isn't the complete defender just yet. He's still very young. Hopefully he gets there at some point in his career. But right now, he is certainly athletic. He is certainly quick. These are the sorts of players that we need, players that can cover these large distances. Because if you can't cover large distances, what you do is you start to drop off a little bit deeper. Someone like Harry Maguire is quite guilty of this, dropping off a few yards, knowing he doesn't have the pace to kind of attack the space in behind him. So he drops off deeper to prevent the space, but that creates space in front of him. It creates this space in here for an opposition player to move into. Whereas when you have someone like Leny Yoro, who can defend on the front foot here and be aggressive, but also has the recovery pace to track him behind, you know, he trusts himself athletically, it allows United to squeeze that little bit higher. And I felt in this game against City, United did a pretty good job of holding the high line, although granted, City didn't really test it enough. But once again, Leny Yoro is ticking all the boxes of what United should be signing. He should now be the model player that we look at. We should look at Leny Yoro and go, that's what we need in the transfer market. Now, of course, you can't always get a player of Yoro's quality. We are talking about one of the best young defenders on the planet, but you can see the idea behind what INEOS are trying to do. Young, athletic players who have plenty of time ahead of them in their career, players that are still young, so you can mould them into different positions. With Yoro, we have this luxury. He could play here, he could play here, he could play here. Because he's young, we can kind of choose how we mould and develop his career a little bit, which is a benefit of signing a younger player. Of course, you're going to get errors from him. There are going to be moments where he sort of lapses in concentration or gets beat in a 1v1. That is going to happen with a young player. But I think, again, he is the model of the players that we should be signing. Of course, you can't do it with all the players. We also need experience. I am big on that. But I do think Leny Yoro is the sort of player that we need. Someone who can pick the ball up and be calm under pressure, that can be progressive, find the ball through the lines, that can switch to play out to the other side, that can use both feet. We saw him here passing with his left foot on a fairly regular basis, but then also physically has the ability to defend and also the technique. Leny Yoro is basically what Manchester United need, which is quite handy because we've got him. We need to try and find more moving forward. I do get the INEOS model in that sense, because if you can find more Leny Yoros, then in 5 years, this team could genuinely be special. Like I said, they need some experience mixed in with them, but you can see the idea. I like Leny Yoro a lot. We will be talking about him more in the future because I'm sure he is going to keep producing really good performances, particularly next season and beyond. But for now, he's doing a good job. He is settling really well. His confidence is building, and we're seeing a player that's just getting better and better, which is one of the most rewarding things in football. So yeah, Leny Yoro is bringing a smile to my face, and not many things at United are doing that right now. But in terms of today's video, I think that is pretty much everything that I wanted to cover. So thank you guys very much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed this video. And as always, I'll see you in the next one.